tell you this story now about the grand, I'm sorry, not that. Wait, what is it called? Davis Horton House. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you the story about the Davis Horton House at 410 Island Avenue in the Gaslamp Quarter of San Diego, California. This story takes place in the mid-1800s. In 1850, a gentleman by the name of William Heath Davis had a vision for this part of the city at the bay in downtown, and he wanted to import homes from the East Coast. They were East Coast style homes in the style of salt boxes, which was a salt box is the original way that salt was held in England. So this is a style of house. It's a gable house. And so he imported these houses. There was 8 houses, and he did this project with 3 other men: Jose Antonio Aguirre, Miguel Pedro Reina, and William C. Farrell. Okay, so he did this project with these other men, and they imported these houses right on the bay, but it didn't take, people didn't flock to these houses, and it became abandoned. And they ended up calling this neighborhood, or this part of town by the bay in the Gaslamp Quarter, Dave's Folly. Like, it was kind of a mess up. So it didn't attract a lot of home buyers, but in 1867, a gentleman and his wife, his name was Alonzo Horton, they purchased the property, and this is 2 years before the Transcontinental Railroad that took place in 1869 in downtown San Diego, or part of that Transcontinental Railroad. And so when that happened, it brought in a lot of potential because of the people coming into the city at that time. It was more people, so it attracted more attention, and so then there were more buyers. And so this went really well for Alonzo Horton. So this house became known as Davis Horton House at 411 Island Avenue, although it was originally located at State and F Street. So this house has moved around quite a few times. I'm not sure about all 8 houses, but I know this particular one. So this house was also present during the time of when there was a virus going around called the yellow fever. And the yellow fever was a fever that would happen over a week or so, and then some dark vomiting, dark stuff would come out. But that wouldn't happen for a few days, but so you would have the fever for a while and then maybe the vomiting. But there is a story, a haunting story of lights flickering in the house and doors opening and shutting, and also a Victorian lady. And it's said that this Victorian lady could be a mother of a child that died to yellow fever. So she haunts this house, 411 Island Avenue, the Davis Horton House, and she kind of wanders around, lights flicker, and doors open and close. Now, in the 1980s, the house became part of a museum, which was part of the Gaslamp Quarter. This Horton House became a museum in the 1980s. It was part of the Gaslamp Quarter Historical Foundation. It was part of the Gaslamp Quarter Historical Foundation. Okay. All right. And there was a lady that worked for the Gaslamp Quarter Historical Foundation in the 1980s. And so they converted the house, the Davis Horton house, into a museum called the Davis Horton House Museum. And this lady's name was Mary. So this is in the 1980s, and she was working there. And one day when she was working, she started to feel funny. Actually, this happened to numerous people. They would feel something in their chest, and then they wouldn't feel good in their stomach. And then as the day went on, they would feel like something bad was going to happen. But this particular day, this lady Mary was working at the museum, and she started to not feel so good. And then when she went home, she started coughing up vomiting black stuff, and also she came down with a fever, which is not common for yellow fever. It's more of a gradual illness. And she also saw the Victorian lady throughout the day in the museum, and the Victorian lady was walking around asking her if you've seen the child, and also telling her don't touch her. So Mary remembers that happening throughout the day at the museum, and then getting really sick that night. The doctor couldn't explain it, and then the next day she woke up and she was absolutely fine. So then she carried on, and she mentioned to people this Victorian lady that she had saw, and that she had gotten really sick this one day and was vomiting black stuff like the yellow fever. And this story stuck around with this property at 411 Island Avenue, aka Davis Horton House. And sometimes people say they still see this Victorian lady around the property, and that she's still haunting the property looking for her sickly child. Thank you.